Hello, and welcome to Two Peas in a Podcast, the thunderstorm episode, because we're recording during a thunderstorm right now. So if you hear a crazy boom and all of a sudden everything stops working, it's because the electricity has gone out.
And
but I'm Razultor, and you can call me Raz for short, just like usual.
And I'm Sara Fantastic.
And what can we call you?
Maybe.
Okay, fair enough. So anyways, we have to give a huge spoiler alert because we went and saw Captain America Civil War, and it's amazing.
It really is, but we are going to spoil everything later in the episode.
Yep.
So if you want, you can listen.
You can stick
through
around
our
for Fancy
Friday,
Sock and the stories, and then we'll give you another super spoilery warning.
Wait, are my socks a spoiler?
Not really, because literally the trailer spoiled more than your socks did.
Okay. Alright. I'm good with that.
So Fancy Sock Friday, my socks are the light blue and gray ones that have lots of different drinking utensils on them.
They're not light blue and gray, they're light blue and navy blue.
No, look at this.
That is definitely navy blue.
Do you not? It's gray. This is gray.
I don't believe it.
You think this is blue?
Yeah, it looks like a faded navy blue.
That's a dark gray.
I don't believe you.
How in the world do you see that? Well, apparently, Sarah and I don't see colors the same way, which is a normal thing for everyone, but
so,
that is definitely a dark gray, listeners.
At least we're not arguing whether it's black and blue or white and gold.
Well, at first I thought you were going to say that they were black and blue. And then I would have made that reference.
Well, you couldn't. I made it first.
Okay. So are you going to tell your socks?
Yes,
or just
my
me?
socks... No, I'm going to insult you.
Okay, great.
So my socks are actually... The left sock is my Hulk sock. It's green, and then it has a purple ruffle on it.
Uh-huh.
And then my right sock is a Thor sock because it looks like Thor's armor, and it has a cape on it. And the reason why it's spoilery is because these two heroes were not in Captain America because they couldn't afford them.
Or
and so
were
I'm
they?
Representing.
Or
I mean, they were.
Are you?
They were.
Also,
in a way.
Sarah's cat is trying to play with the TV.
So if you hear any loud crashes, that's not thunder-like. It's my cat breaking everything I own.
Or it might sound like thunder on this mic. We don't know. So we're going to move on to our stories of the day, and I think you're going to go first, Sarah. So
my
what is your
story of the
about
day
your life?
or week is about one of my favorite college memories, where I helped a friend get her car stuck in the Sonic. What are those things called?
The Sonic parking spots?
Like they're like stalls almost.
They're like the drive-in spots?
Yeah, so...
Because they're not drive-through.
No, they're like the drive-in spots. I helped a friend get a car stuck in there because we went for late night Sonic.
You made it sound like you're trying to get a car stuck in the drive-in.
It wasn't intentional. We went for late night Sonic shakes at it was almost midnight, I think. And my friend, who is my friend, pulled into the spot, and she was so close on the right side that I couldn't even see the board because she was so close. And so she tried to back up and pull in the other way, but she just got her car closer to the right pole, and so her car door was actually literally touching the pole. And so then we traded spots so that I could try and straighten it out. But I ended up having to roll down her back window on the passenger side because we got the sign lodged in the back window of her car. And we were panicking. And so I called my dad for advice. And because my dad is the helpful human being that he is, he laughed for 2 full minutes before he could give us any advice. And his advice was to go get the manager of Sonic to help us. So we very awkwardly went to the front door and knocked. And the manager of the store came and helped us get the thing unlodged and got her car out. And we were so embarrassed that we didn't even get Sonic. We just drove home.
That's amazing.
And we've never been back to
Also,
that Sonic together again.
I just realized that we were going to call your dad Mr. Fantastic on this, which is actually a superhero character.
My dad is super.
Oh man. And apparently stretchy. Mr. Fantastic.
And a scientist.
There you go. Who lives in the Baxter building.
Played by Johan Grufford.
And I haven't seen the new one, but I don't know about that life.
That doesn't exist.
Okay, so my story is about Ingress, which is one of the games that we played. We talked about it in our Pokemon vs. Digimon episode, because the people who made Ingress, which is like a
live app game experience.
Yeah, it's like a live app game experience in the real world. So Ingress, you go around and like put stuff on portals and try and get them for your faction, and there's 2 different factions that everyone in the world can choose. And so of course I'm part of the Enlightened faction, and apparently the guy who runs our IT department at school is on the enemy team, the Resistance, and he literally just, throughout the day when I've set up nice portals, he will go and destroy them. And he does this every day because I get email reminders about it, and it makes me so angry. But I also laugh because our IT department guy is also into this game.
It's very frustrating.
It is. It's nice when you have everything set up and it's like, oh look, everything is enlightened, so it's all nice and green. And then everything gets destroyed and turned into Resistance colors, which is blue.
And also, he's like way super ahead of us in levels, and so it's really hard to
it's really hard for us to come back
handle.
from that. So we get our friend who's enlightened and way up in levels to destroy everything for us. Yeah, so also, we're going to now get into super spoiler stuff, so
leave now or forever hold your peace.
Nice to know you if you haven't seen Civil War yet. If you have, awesome. If you're still listening and haven't seen Civil War, you do you. Alright, here we go. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So basically, I think this is a much better, much better version of Batman vs. Superman. Because I wanted something like this in Batman vs. Superman and didn't get it at all. Because you get like 8 minutes of them fighting, and it's super boring and let down about everything.
I am actually really frustrated that as someone who keeps comparing Civil War to Batman vs. Superman over people comparing Civil War to Batman vs. Superman, because they are 2 totally different movies. I mean, they still have 2 heroes who are fighting over different good ideals, but
It's true.
it is what it is.
So the wrong one is eating out of the wrong food bowl.
That's
Does that
okay.
matter?
It's
Okay.
fine.
That's fine.
I have cats and they fight over food bowls.
And
It's
that's
fine.
great. So, yeah, basically that's what I've thought about it. But you also had a really funny saying, which is that you trust the Russo brothers.
Oh my goodness.
with
I
your
told my
life.
mom after my mom took us to see the movie because my mom is the best. Hi,
Thanks,
Mom.
Mrs. Fantastic.
So after seeing the movie, my mom asked if I thought if this was what I was expecting, and I told my mom that I trust the Russo brothers so much I would just like hand over my firstborn child for them to raise because I trust them so much.
That's interesting.
And it's a true statement.
So strange.
So Russo brothers, if you need to adopt a child.
So we're basically just going to go through it as chronologically as we can with our terrible memories, and then
Mostly
talk about
I just
things.
remember like waving my arms around and flailing, and my mom fussing at me to stop flailing from the movie.
And you just
because it was
hitting
so
me
good.
and being like, ah! And I'm like, I know, I see them, I can see them, I am also freaking out, stop hitting me, eat your popcorn.
That was mostly what was happening. I was just like flailing about and slapping Raz a lot.
It was great. It was a
It's like-
wonderful movie-going experience.
Would you recommend it? How many stars out of 10?
The movie or the experience?
The experience.
The movie, 10 out of 10. The experience, 7.5 out of 10, with the chance to be a perfect score with less flailing.
I was going to say 10 would recommend, but okay.
Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks, I guess.
As one of my favorite gaming YouTubers would say, Den out of Den. Because he's from Denmark and can't say the T sound as well. It's great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so I really like that there's new Avengers. So basically the movie opens with these new Avengers doing their thing, busting up evil crime people.
Scarlet
and you just
Witch.
get to see how awesome like the team works together. And then all of a sudden it comes crashing down.
Yeah, so it starts out with Crossbones, and everybody's like, "Oh, Crossbones is gonna be the villain." Oh
and
no!
were they in Kenya or something?
They were. I think they were in Kenya.
Mm-hmm. So they were in Kenya trying to bust up some baddies.
And Crossbones shows up, and then like literally 10 minutes into the movie, this bad guy who everyone thought was gonna be like the bad guy throughout dies. Spoilers. He dies. And so that for me was amazing because I was actually really worried they were going to try and fit too much conflict into the movie.
Yep.
And so when that happened, I was like, dang, son!
Yeah, so I like that Crossbones, like, he was trying to get close to Cap, so he strapped bombs to himself and was going to blow himself up. And then Scarlet Witch basically, like, throws him up in the air with her awesome powers, and then accidentally throws him into, like, a civilian building, and blows up the civilian building, which leads to several deaths. And that kind of starts the conflict of the movie. So the UN is all like, so these superheroes are running around unchecked with tons of civilian casualties, and we need to not allow them to do that.
Mm-hmm. And so the reason why the conflict is so much between Iron Man and Captain America is because early in the movie, Iron Man, Tony Stark, is confronted by a woman whose son was killed during the fallout for Avengers Age of Ultron, which was really great interconnectivity, I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
There was a lot of inter-referencing. I thought that the Russo brothers did a really good job with that.
Mm-hmm.
But, so Tony Stark is, like, just dealing with this frustration over, like, I'm trying to save people, but in doing so, I'm killing people who are making a difference in the world, doing good. And
yeah,
so...
and I really like that you hardly ever see him in his suit at first. Like,
yeah.
He's not in his suit at all, and, he's just obviously not flaunting his suit around, which was really cool.
And so, it was just... I went into this movie being very staunchly Team Cap, and halfway through this movie, I was like, oh poop, like, am I Team Iron Man now? Like, has this movie turned me into Team Iron Man? And I left the movie theater still being Team Cap, but I just have so much respect for how they handled Team Iron Man. Like, they didn't set him up to be the bad guy at all.
Yeah, I love Robert Downey Jr., so I was like, but I don't like Iron Man. I mean, I like Iron Man, but not in the way, the stance he took on the position. So basically, the UN put forth a bill and was like, all right, so you guys need to sign this, or there's going to be consequences. And so you're signing it saying that we're going to have a council that's in charge of you, and this joint UN elected council is going to choose when you guys can go and help in a situation.
Well, it started out being like they would vote on, like the Avengers would bring things before them and they would vote on it. But throughout the movie, it slowly changed to being where, like, they would tell you what to do and when you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know. I just felt like Tony's stance was super reasonable, though, because he's like, amendments can change. Like, we need to sign this. We need to go through with this now, and we can fix it, and we can perfect the system as we go. And so, while I am still Team Cap of, like, no, like, we need to, like, the best people to decide to do what's right. Like, we have to live by our own morals. We have to decide what's right and do it. Like, I still stand with Cap.
Mm-hmm.
I understand Tony Stark's position so much more.
Yeah.
And
so the big thing that happens, I really like how this movie handled conflict, and I compare it to Batman vs. Superman just because it's that idea of pitting the superheroes against each other for a good reason. And so where Batman vs. Superman had really questionable motives, like the entire movie, and also pretended like they should care about civilians and then never did. It seemed like this movie really cared about civilian lives, and they were much more worried about the consequences and how to protect civilians. But also the conflict was so much better. So, like, just when you thought a deal was about to be met, the UN gets bombed, and it looks like Bucky Barnes is the one who bombed the UN, and so everyone's freaking out because they're like, oh man, we gotta catch Bucky and kill Bucky now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the UN gets bombed while they're discussing the bill and going to try and sign it. And so a really important character dies. And it kind of leads to the birth of a new superhero character.
Well, not necessarily the birth.
Yeah,
because,
but just... well, it relates to his, like, revenge story.
It leads to a revenge story and, like, to him, like, being active in the world because they set it up to where this character...
I mean, just say it. We're there.
Oh, because Black Panther was so concerned with, like, dealing with his country stuff, and his country was always so sheltered and they didn't interact with the real world. It set up Black Panther to really, like, just step out and be like, no, like, we're here, we're part of this world, we're gonna step in. And, like, so throughout the whole movie, Black Panther has, like, this revenge story, but slowly you see his character develop to the point where at the end he's like, no, like, I'm not gonna let revenge consume me. Like, I'm gonna do what's right, and you're gonna get punished by the right people.
Yeah. I really like Black Panther, and it was just really cool to see... Like, at first he wasn't listening to any reason whatsoever, and it was just like, I'm going to kill Bucky, and Bucky's going to die because he killed my dad. And so it's just a really good character development, but I liked how the conflict always felt reliable. Like, I was like, oh yeah, that would definitely make me not want to sign it. And so it happens later on in the movie, where again, like, Cap's there, and Iron Man's there, and they meet together, and Iron Man is giving him a pen, and it's talking about, like, his dad and all the stuff that he did. And he's like, so, Cap, you need to sign this. And Cap is going to, and then, I forget what happens.
I think Tony adds new specifications that they had added into the bill, or says something about Bucky.
Yeah, I think it was Bucky.
And so, like, Iron Man had offered, or Tony Stark had offered this pin to Steve Rogers, and Steve Rogers was about to, like, walk away with it, like this olive branch, like they were going to be a team again. And then, like, something comes up, I don't remember what detail it was, and Captain America puts the pin back with the other one and is like, I'd hate to break up a complete set. But in doing so, he's breaking up the set of the Avengers. It was just, I cried a little bit.
Good symbolism stuff. Yeah, so it's really cool with that. So that leads to them getting two different sides. Basically, Cap frees Bucky from captivity because he had gotten captured. And he's like...
captured! And that, dear listeners, is the pun of the day.
Apparently. So he got captured. They break him out. Cap and Bucky are on the run to try and basically clear his name because they find out that there's this other guy behind it.
There's this amazing stairwell fight scene that then leads to, like, this car chase scene. And the thing I love about Marvel movies is most of their action stuff happens in well-lit places. So you can see what's going on and you can appreciate, like, just how well coordinated it is. Like, there's one part...
Also, their gunfire isn't blinding.
Oh my gosh,
Like, the gunfire was so good. And in Batman vs. Superman, the gunfire just, like, blinded you because it was so dark all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, guys, please, my eyes hurt. And in Marvel, it just never happens that way.
Because Marvel is literally the best. Marvel is bae. Anyways, my favorite part during this car chase scene is, like, Bucky is getting chased by both. So, like, Bucky and Steve haven't, like, made up yet. Like, Steve is still trying to get Bucky to believe him. And so Bucky is running from Steve and Falcon and from the Black Panther, who's still trying to kill him. And so Bucky just runs onto the traffic, and this guy's riding a motorcycle by him. And Bucky, like, grabs it and tosses the guy off of it and spins the motorcycle around and then, like, jumps on it while he's spinning it around in the air and then just takes off. And that was amazing. And that was the second time that a motorcycle had been used for all these, like, cool tricks. The first time was by Black Widow, and it was still amazing.
Yeah.
But I, like, nearly died. I was flailing so hard at that point.
So it basically comes down to this huge fight scene between everyone, which was super, super cool. So everyone's, like, calling up their backup. So Cap calls in, he calls in Hawkeye, and Hawkeye goes to, so Scarlet Witch went back to the main area, for the Avengers, and Vision was kind of watching over her and literally keeping her from going outside, which was a little bit creepy. But you could tell that they have a little bit of a romance thing going on. And then he calls in Hawkeye to go and rescue Scarlet Witch and bring her with him. And so basically Hawkeye distracts Vision and gets gets her to go with him.
Well, she also like crushes him into the ground.
Yeah, she basically had to subdue Vision, which
and
was
it
kind
was
of
like
sad.
super like emotionally traumatizing.
Yeah, but then one of my favorite scenes comes when Iron Man is trying to recruit people, and so Tony Stark goes to New York, and he's like, I got a guy. And we all know what's coming because of the spoiler trailers, but if it wasn't in there, it would have been so much better. I actually didn't watch the trailers because I was like, I know that these are spoilery, but I had heard from
I'm
the
sorry,
world.
I think I might have told you.
Probably, but it's okay. So he goes to New York, and he meets Aunt May,
who is super young and attractive, and I was so uncomfortable with it.
And Tony Stark totally mentions that his aunt is super attractive to Peter Parker. And I loved Peter Parker in this movie. Mm-hmm. He is my favorite on-screen portrayal of Superman in a movie.
Superman?
Of Spider-Man.
You mean Spider-Man was super in this
Super
movie.
Spider-Man. Yeah, so Spider-Man is super great because he finally portrays that adolescence.
Yeah.
And that just adolescent humor that I feel like was lacking in the other Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, so it's the super great naivete that he has about him. And it's just so funny. It's literally like the comic relief during all the fight scenes.
And then, so they have their two teams, and
they all get caught at this airport hangar, basically.
And there's this giant fight scene, and
Ant-Man comes in with Cap because
oh my gosh, Ant-Man's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Like, this whole movie, I feel like everyone had at least, one really good, hilarious line.
Yep, it's super great. My favorite part about the fight scene... I mean, my first favorite part was the scene where, they have those good shots of everyone gets in the scene that's right before a battle. And so they had that with both sides collapsing on each other. But then the two people who end up fighting each other at first are Black Widow and Hawkeye. Yes. And they're basically want to go easy on each other.
Yeah, Hawkeye literally... it doesn't Hawkeye say, we're still friends?
Yeah, we're still friends. And then Scarlet Witch, hits Scarlett Johansson, who's Black Widow. So she hits him with an ability that's stop throwing your punches or something like that. To where she was I caught you messing with all of your stuff.
It was super great.
Yeah.
My favorite part during the fight scene actually is Spider-Man has all this witty banter with Sam Wilson, Falcon, and Bucky Barnes. And he literally, webs them to the ground at one point. Great. And when they finally, Sam, uses, what's his little Red Wing, right? Mm-hmm. Sam uses Red Wing to, burst off the spider webs. And Bucky's like, you couldn't have done that, 5 minutes sooner? And then Falcon says, I hate you. And that was my favorite part. I literally died at that moment. I was like, these are the characters that I've needed in my life the whole time.
Yeah. There was also one scene where Cap finally kisses a girl, and literally Bucky and Falcon are in the back seat
of this tiny
Volkswagen, yeah. And so he comes walking back, and there's just a scene where they're just staring at him, smiling. It's just we know.
The tension between Falcon and Bucky was everything I needed in my life, because Falcon's sitting in the front seat of this blue Volkswagen, and his seat is pushed back, and Bucky's in the back.
Oh,
and
it
Bucky
was Falcon
goes,
who called Ant-Man. That's right.
Yeah, and Bucky's like, can you move your seat forward? And Falcon scoots it back a little more, and he's like, no. And just the tension between them, because I just imagine them fighting, not because they actually dislike each other, but because they're like, no, I'm Captain America's best friend.
It was
great. Oh yeah, and Ant-Man became giant in the fight scene.
Yeah,
and I'm very angry about the science. It doesn't work.
You're angry about the science. The science, I'm fine with it. I just accept that, he didn't do it in the Ant-Man movie. And so it was kind of understood
continuity.
It's understood that they could have come out with different technology that allows them to get bigger, not just smaller.
No, because in the Ant-Man movie, the ant got big and the Thomas the Train got big. And so the mass doesn't change, the size does. And because the size is changing with so much mass, you literally become lighter than air. So the ant and the Thomas the Train should have floated away too. It's the same science that is wrong.
Also, the reason why he shouldn't be able to have a tank on his belt loop.
It was amazing. I love that the internet is calling it the Giant Man scene.
Yep, that's great.
Because it's a pun.
I also love the way that they bring him down. Because
yes!
Spider-Man goes, hey guys, have you seen that really old movie? Isn't it Revenge of the Sith that has Hoth? Or is it Return of the Jedi?
I thought it was The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, maybe it is.
We're such...
The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, he's like, have you guys seen that really old movie, The Empire Strikes Back? I don't know what the one that it has Hoth in it. Yeah, it's The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
So he says that, and everyone's just laughing because they're like, "What? That's no one considers it that old." And then he basically just uses his webs to go around his legs and make him crash.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, but Spider-Man's he has great one-liners like that. So we should probably transition towards the end of the movie because we're running out of time, and we want to keep our podcast to a shortened note. So towards the end of the movie, basically Black Widow turns coat and lets Bucky and Cap get away in a jet, and they get to chase down the super evil dude. And so they're chasing down the super evil dude.
So, like, the whole point of them chasing this super evil dude is that we find out there are 4 more Winter Soldiers just like Bucky.
But
and
they're even crazier.
They're even crazier, and they don't have a sieve to keep them sane. And so this guy knows where they're at, and so he's going to go set them loose. And I was preparing for a giant showdown battle that I was not emotionally prepared for going in.
Where everyone teams up again, and then everything turns out fine.
And that is not what we got.
So they walk into the chamber where all of these people are cryo-frozen, and you just see that each one has been shot out with glass. The glass has been shot out, and there's a bullet in each of the other Winter Soldiers'
heads. And so, like, they're dead. And so I was like, okay, this seems fake, but okay.
Yeah, so he was the guy who's the evil guy who's been part of it for the whole movie. Goes, well, if you break down an empire from the outside, they're just likely to rally together and bring it back together. But if you break it down from the inside, it stays gone. And so,
like, this whole thing was just a plot to turn the Avengers against each other.
Yep.
And it worked because we end the scene with, like, Captain America and Bucky fighting against Iron Man. And Iron Man literally, like, tears off Bucky's metal arm.
Mm-hmm. The big thing that happens that we find out that makes... Because it's almost back to normal because we find out that Bucky wasn't the one who bombed the UN. And so Cap finally, not Cap, but Iron Man finally realizes it and is about to forgive Cap. And then the video plays in there. And you find out that Bucky, the Winter Soldier, is the one that killed Iron Man's parents.
So lots of people have already, like, made the art, like, back in even Captain America Winter Soldier, lots of people were theorizing that we knew that Tony Stark's parents were killed by Hydra. And we knew they were killed in a car accident. Mm-hmm. And so lots of people were theorizing that actually Bucky was the one to do it. So that wasn't a surprise to me because that fanon was, like, so large that it was practically canon for me.
Yeah, but it
was a surprise for Iron Man.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing for me as well. And that it totally makes sense why he would almost be about to agree. And then not. It's so much better than being like, your mom's name is my mom's name?
Like, I literally cried whenever Iron Man just, like, looked at Captain America and it was like, he killed my mom.
Yeah, he rips off Bucky's arm. And then Cap starts fighting him back. And there's a point where I was like, Cap's gonna kill Iron Man.
Yeah.
Because he starts, like, stabbing him with his shield and breaks part of his armor and the arc reactor in his chest. It's just like, oh gosh.
It was so emotionally well done.
Yep. And so as Iron Man is just laying there on the ground and Bucky and Iron Man and Cap are walking away, he just says, you don't deserve that shield. My dad made that shield. And literally Cap just throws the shield and they walk away.
Like, it was...
And that's it. That's the end.
Well, there is the scene where, at the end, we didn't even talk about Rhodey getting shot by Vision.
Oh, yeah.
Rhodey almost dies.
Yeah, so Vision, during the airplane fight, Rhodey is up flying around Iron Patriot style, and he's like, who's tailing him? Falcon's
Falcon's
tailing him.
Because Rhodey's flying after the plane
and
with
Rhodey's
Cap
like, Vision, help me out up here. And then Vision shoots. And Falcon's like, oh man, swerve, miss. And it hits.
And that happened
Rhodey.
because Vision was kind of distracted because he was worried about Scarlet Witch getting hurt.
Yep.
But, so we thought Rhodey was going to die, but Rhodey didn't die. But he was paralyzed, so...
Oh my gosh, he fell so far it looked like he was going to die.
And so, like, Tony is helping him, like, he built a thing to help him, like, walk again. And so he's practicing. And then there's the Stan Lee cameo where he says, I've got a package for Tony Stank.
Tony Stank. That was hilarious.
And so,
they're like, we're never letting that go, Mr. Stank.
Because I was crying so much at the end. I was like, I'm never going to be happy again. Yeah. I'm never going to laugh again.
After the airplane fight,
Stan Lee made me laugh.
Everyone on Cap's side gets put in a prison that's in the ocean that literally gets submerged 24/7. And so they all get, like, put in there, and Cap is just going, and he's like... He actually... Iron Man, when he goes to visit them, cuts out their feed for a second, is like... I realized the error of my ways, and it's part of what made him turn around until he found out that Bucky killed his parents. Yeah. And so it was just so cool to see that they were all captured. But then, like, the last scene, you basically see the Cap, like, rescue
breaks them out. Mm-hmm. And, like, there's this really weird apology letter that Cap writes, and I'm like, I was actually really frustrated with Captain America at this point, because I was like, you're writing this apology letter that's basically saying, like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, but we'll make it, we'll be fine. And it was really frustrating because it wasn't actually an apology.
But I think Iron Man kind of saw, like, the possibilities of what they could try and make him, like, do to him or do to the superheroes, which was really cool.
Yeah, and so I don't know.
And so although Cap might still be on their side and still take his position, he also kind of, like, sees where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's our thoughts on it. Overall, I thought it was an incredible movie. There are so many superheroes. I just loved all of them.
They all had such a good amount of screen time.
Oh, it's so good.
And they were handled so well.
Yep.
And I'm so excited for the Black Panther movie.
Oh, yes.
Is it 2018?
Is Black Widow still not getting a movie yet?
Black Widow's getting a movie.
Thank goodness.
It was kind of accidentally leaked, and we don't know when it's going to happen. But they're talking about developing a movie for her.
I was like, if Black Panther gets a movie before Black Widow.
No, I'd be down for Black Panther. I would be angry if Vision got a movie before Black Widow got a movie. I'm down for Black Panther, though, because they've been, like, teasing him for so long.
Super true. Yeah, so I'm super excited. Everything's going to happen, Marvel. I trust you. You're great.
I'm also super excited because the Russo brothers are directing the Infinity Wars.
Oh.
And I'm so excited for that because that's where we get...
everybody comes together.
We get Avengers and Guardians.
I'm so ready.
I'm so ready for Chris Pratt to interact with Chris Thor and Chris Thor.
Just make it a Chris something.
It'll be like Christmas.
It'll be like one big croissant.
Mine was better because it's a present.
Well, croissant man.
I don't know what that was.
So I better just say do all of the social things with YouTube where you like, share, comment, all those things. Follow us on all of our socials, which are linked down below.
And follow my blog where I'm doing a Civil War analysis on my blog tomorrow. So
if you want to read words that Sarah writes, you can do that, which I'll link to in the video description, hopefully. All right, on that note, I guess we're going to say peace out. You can't gain anything in life.
You're against me.
Because you're a woman.
It's true.
That's just the way our world works. Women can't gain anything.